Hey everybody, what's up? What's up? So, sorry for not doing this stream yesterday, but I was busy. I was doing stuff. Chrissy was commenting, "You have a family?" I'm like, not really, but I have an extended family. Who's my family? So, I was spending time with them. But in any case, the topic today is I've noticed that there are some Africans in America, and even worse, the ones in Africa that are like they're acting like Black people in America are gods, and I don't know why they feel the need to do that. Like, bro, they've been through things, yes, but let's stop. I hate how this relationship is one where you always have to act like somebody else has been through the most and you haven't been through anything. Like, if you don't know the history of your own people, you should probably learn the history of your own people. There are things that are going on in your own country. There are countries in Africa where slavery is actually happening right now. Nobody wants to talk about that, but it's like acting like someone else went through everything and your people went through nothing. It's like, I don't know why you need to feel the need to act that way. Now, I get it. They are the most represented, like the diaspora, the most represented in media and TV. So that's probably where some people get this like God like status. I don't know. But it's like, I hate relationships, friendships, anything where one side always has to like big up the other side, and then the other side doesn't ever get to acknowledge what the other side went through. I really don't like that. And I'm starting to notice in a lot of these YouTube, even Pan African spaces, it was always like that. It was always like diaspora doing this, diaspora doing that. They never want to talk about the history of African countries. Like, they never want to talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, in a lot of these streams, you even get this thing where I don't even know why Africans, well, I don't know if they're African. I don't know who's saying this, but there was just like, there was no such thing as slavery in Africa. And I'm just like, so slavery, just the transatlantic is when it automatically happened. There was no type or form of slavery before then, and there are currently none. That's the only time it happened. Nothing. Everyone else was peaceful, having a great time. Everything was chill. Like, I don't like that narrative that it's like, oh, everything only had to do with the diaspora, and whatever happened in Africa or whatever Africans are going through, nobody cares. I hate that. It actually really annoys me because it's like, for as much as we have to know about the diaspora, I feel like diasporas don't know anything about us. So I'm just like, what's the point of me knowing and reading everything that happened to you, but you never want to read what happened to me? Like, you never cared about what happened to me at all. Like, that's not a fair relationship. But then it's like, I'm being forced to always be in that. And I just, it's like, why? Why do people have to do that? Why can you not just like someone, give them props, and leave it at that? Why do you have to then have self-hate and be like, oh, they're the best blacks in the world? Like, why would you call another black person the best black in the world? See, at least with Chinese Americans, from what I can see, Chinese anywhere in the world think that they're better than everyone else, right? That's completely fine because they've earned the right to feel that way. But then it's like when other people just say, I'm the best of this, I'm the best of that, and there's nothing to prove it, it's like, why come out and say, okay, you know what, actually, let me take that back. There's nothing wrong with thinking that you're the best, but then when someone else comes up to you and says that they're the best, why does it bother you? That's what I don't understand. Like, I've heard people complain, oh, these Africans feel like they're better than us. If they feel that way, what's wrong with them feeling that way? Like, what, how, do they have any power? Are they doing anything that actually shows that they're better than you other than telling you? No. So why should it bother you? Like, I don't, why you want someone to have low self-esteem? Is that what you want? I don't see anything wrong with that. And even when the other side does it, when the other side be like, oh, we're the best blacks in the world. I don't see anything wrong with that. When they say, oh, we're the best blacks in the world, I actually don't see anything wrong with that, because from what I see, none of these black countries, any of them, are doing anything that is worthy to even brag about. None of them are at the level that they need to be. So whenever I hear black people talk about how they're the best blacks in the world, I don't get offended. But you have other people that, for whatever reason, it offends them. Like, they want to cry. So what, you want me to not have confidence in myself? You don't want me to have confidence in my people? You want me to have my head down low? Why? And before people remind me, I'm not saying I'm where I need to be. I know that. But if I speak with a lot of self-confidence, I'm not sure why that needs to bother somebody else. Now, back to the Africans. A lot of Africans on these streams, like, I don't know what they're doing. It's like they always it must be inferiority complex, where they feel like they need to have this need of wanting to relate to other black people. So then they'll like downplay their own country successes, they'll downplay their own ancestors' successes to appear lower than someone else. And I'm just like, why would you need to do that? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. If we're speaking in the context of America, I give Black Americans props for what they've done in America. If we're speaking in the context of Jamaica, I give I give Jamaicans props on what they've accomplished in Jamaica. That's it, though. I mean, I'm not going to give you props on what you've accomplished worldwide, because I've yet to see what anybody, like any group of Black, African, whatever, has accomplished worldwide. I'd yet to see that. No, I don't get it. So yeah, I mean, well, that's what I have to say. But let me see what you guys are saying. We are the face of Black people. Um, you're the face of Black people in media and maybe in sports. That's about it. You're not the face of all Black people in the world, and you won't ever be the face of all Black people in the world. I mean, and I to be honest, like, I don't want to downplay like your accomplishments of what your people went through, but what is the face of Black people in the world? Because if you even ask me, the face of Black people in the world is not a good one. Like, and that's not even being mean. Like, it's not. The face of Black people are horrible, which is why when people travel outside, they literally say, I don't want to be Black, or I don't want to be called Black, because of the negative connotations with that word. So, I mean, yeah, cool. Like, if you want to be the face of Black people, that's fine. That's fine. Um, exact. Okay, like, exactly. Like, do you understand? And I'm just being honest here. Like, we have to know so much about African Americans. They don't know anything about us. And then, it's funny, they'll be the same ones saying, oh, we always loved Africa. No, you didn't. You always love Egypt. You always love like ancient Africa. You don't know anything that's going on in Africa. They'll be the ones to say, oh, we always know you guys. You guys don't reach out to us. Y'all didn't reach out to us. Stop overplaying your role. Like, yeah, you helped out with Ethiopia. You apparently applied enough pressure for the South Africa apartheid situation to, I don't know, get more international. That's all I remember them doing. But when they're like, oh, we are always the ones that reached out to the diaspora, like, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's not always you. It's not always you. And let's also talk about the fact that reaching out to the diaspora, whatever that means, reaching out to the diaspora in America, whatever that means, is not the same as actually studying what happened in these countries. That's not the same. Ask the average diaspora, they don't know anything about a Nigerian kingdom. Okay, but they're here telling me that they don't know anything about Nigerian kingdoms. They don't. It's funny how all the kingdoms they know never happen to be where they're supposedly from. I always found that very interesting. Like, you don't know anything about Nigeria, you don't know anything about Congo, you don't know anything about, like, all you know is everything that has to do with, I guess, your recent ancestry. You actually don't know anything that happened over there, but you're telling me you care so much. You wear a dashiki, you wear those African earrings, and then all of a sudden you're like, that's all it takes to be African. That's such an insult. People don't actually understand how insulting that is when you think that knowing about Africa is just dressing like an African or eating African food. That's nothing. That's so surface level. That's like me wearing a New York hat, okay? Me eating peach me eating peach cobbler, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I get the culture. Like, no, it's not the same. So stop saying that you get it when you don't get it. Like, if you want to understand, there are ways to understand, but don't just say that. Like, you that's really annoying and dismissive. I personally think it is. Now, for the ones that are actually putting in work, I think that's different. But if we're talking about the majority of people, they're not putting in work, so they don't apply, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I've heard people on some of these streams be like, oh, we did so much for Africa. I'm like, you didn't do nothing for Africa. You never even been there. You did nothing for it. Stop talking about you did so much for Africa. You didn't do anything for it. You don't even, and the fact that you keep saying Africa, where exactly are you talking about? Where exactly are you talking about? Can we start with that? You probably don't know where you're talking about. So yeah, just stop saying that you're doing that, because